Pandemonium erupted at Los Angeles International Airport yesterday as a furious Meghan Markle caused a scene of epic proportions, all stemming from her very public meltdown after being denied use of Tyler Perry's private jet. The former Duchess of Sussex had reportedly been hoping to hitch a ride back to her Montecito home on the entertainment mogul's luxury aircraft following a lengthy international trip. However, when the two crossed paths at LAX private terminal, the seemingly innocuous encounter quickly devolved into an increasingly volatile confrontation that was captured by multiple witnesses on video. Everything was going totally normal at first as Mr. Perry was being assisted with his luggage and greeted by his driver, recounted Sebastian Rhodes, a member of LAX private aviation staff working that afternoon. Then out of nowhere this Range Rover convoy pulls up, and Ms. Markle comes strutting across the tarmac looking like someone spit in her morning mimosa. She beelined straight for Mr. Perry and the two appeared to be having a very intense discussion. While the initial exchange between Markle and Perry seemed relatively cordial based on eyewitness accounts, tensions quickly began escalating as bystanders overheard snippets of their conversation. Multiple sources have confirmed Meghan's apparent displeasure originated from Perry's refusal to grant her courteous access aboard his private jet, sparking her to elevate the volume and heated remonstrations over his perceived ingratitude and betrayal of their friendship. I couldn't make out everything being said at first, but I distinctly heard Ms. Markle unleash something like, "After that steadfast friendship, support, generosity I showed you and your family?" Almost as if she were reprimanding him over her assumed rights to use his plane, Rhodes continued, still seeming stunned, recounting the incident. "And he must have said no or something because her whole facial expression just switched into this absolutely scathing sneer before really tearing into him." While representatives for both Markle and Perry have declined to comment on any specifics surrounding the incident, numerous viral clips have documented the former royal devolving into a frighteningly unhinged tirade after the latter attempted leaving the area upon denying her request. Beginning with furious verbal barrages accusing Perry of enabling her mistreatment by the royal family and British media, the harassment only continued to escalate from there. She kept not so subtly threatening to go public with some juicy secrets about his personal life and brand business partnerships if he walked away from her, claimed Veronica Santos, a commercial pilot awaiting her flight on a nearby aircraft. It's almost like she thought going nuclear with any info she could embarrass him with would force his hand to keep using his plane indefinitely. As bystanders started filming the scene on their phone cameras, multiple first-hand accounts have depicted Markle's profanity-laced tirade growing increasingly manic and unhinged. From raging accusations of Hollywood operative conspiracies coordinated by Oprah Winfrey to cryptic insinuations about Perry harboring a secret fortune-telling cult, many have speculated that Meghan's furious barbs and threats were seemingly improvised from a mounting sense of desperation. "Let's just say I'm eternally grateful my 8-year-old daughter wasn't around for me to have to explain those sort of vernacular gymnastics Ms. Markle unleashed every time Mr. Perry motioned towards his idling car," Santos remarked, shaking her head in dismay. "I've overheard some salty pilot lounge speak on tarmacs over the years, but rendering feverish sexual fanfics about ritual Wakakina ceremonies and Celestine prophecies into the sort of hate speech slam poetry she subjected him to? I was low-key shooketh." Once the disruption inside LAX secure private aviation section had escalated to the point of delaying incoming flights and inconveniencing other high-profile passengers, airport security and LAPD officers were summoned to defuse the situation. However, by multiple accounts even the combined presence of over a dozen armed officers seemed to have negligible impact on Markle's unraveling breakdown, which only continued descending into histrionics that bystanders described as disturbingly erratic and unmoored from coherent goals. "I've worked this detail at LAX for almost 15 years now, and I gotta be honest, in all my years I've never encountered the degree of unhinged mania Ms. Markle was descending into up close and personal," confessed Lieutenant Marcus Bauer, one of the senior-most officers who responded to the scene. "I mean, one minute she's braying these ritualistic shrieks about awakening the return of Zakapili across Erido Emiria before the Beinonan convergences synced with Boaz's covenants. Then literally the next breath she's mock-tongue-clucking lurid PPV-worthy smack talk directed at Tyler before ripping off her stilettos and Doinjishina culture stomp dances around their landing gear." As the increasingly surreal hostilities dragged on with no resolution in sight, authorities ultimately determined the only recourse was to apprehend Markle before she could jeopardize safety protocols and operations at the secure airfield location. Pulling her aside behind screens temporarily shielding the scene from view, multiple officers restrained the ranting Duchess with temporary zip ties, before apprehending her into a transport vehicle and relocating her into a private security holding room within the main airport terminal. She spent well over an hour getting verbally de-escalated and reoriented to reality by both our crisis counselors and her own private security attaché, Lieutenant Bauer revealed, audibly still grappling with the striking abnormality of the incident. "I'll be entirely honest though, even after all that couch repertorial and watchful nourishing, when she finally exited that room there were stretches where she still appeared entirely non-linear and bent on continuing those same spiral ethereal thought loops about archetypal overthrows, tantra biopostures, and whatever untrammelings." While Meghan Markle has experienced extensive history with controversies and public spectacles throughout her stints as both a royal and celebrity activist, veteran observers have indicated this outburst seems to represent a new level of unraveling. Even among her most ardent critics, a disturbing current of concern has manifested beyond the typical cycles of snarky condemnation or mockery surrounding her previous scandals. Let's be very clear. Much of Meghan's prior disastrous behavior and reputation has been underpinned by all sorts of real discriminations and mistreatment she's experienced, remarks Bethany Milhouse, a U.S. weekly correspondent on the royal family beat. However, this latest incident seemed to really highlight a disturbing new progression where she's now completely untethered from rationalizing her actions as justifiable responses to any external grievances. This didn't originate from a place of entitled petulance. It felt like she's potentially entering more self-destructive headspaces of delusions and paranoia that could prove beyond her control. Other analysts have been even